What's up, guys? Happy Saturday, man. Week 1 is tomorrow. Well, the bulk of it, right? Thursday counts, but it doesn't count, right? Not for us, man. I hope you guys had a great week. Everyone's back in school. Your kids are home. You've been working all week for a weekend of football. And I'm stoked. I hope you're stoked. And I hope a lot of us make a lot of money, man. I have put a whole lot of work, a whole lot of research into this week, man. I feel like I could say this is probably the most prepared for a week of football that I've been. Results be darned. I've got a really strong read and a really strong strategy that I'm going to deploy out there, right? Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel this week. We brought back a lot of concepts. Yesterday we put a fun little how to win $1 million video. If you guys haven't seen that, I looked at the last 32 millionaire maker winning lineups and kind of pulled out some pretty cool, pretty interesting correlations, such as quarterback stacks, receiver stacks, game stacks, all that good stuff. That's in a spreadsheet that's in the VIP. So guys, check out that video if you guys get some time. Today in this video, I kind of want to do a roundup video focusing on some advice. So 5 pieces of advice from me to you as we head in to week 1. I'm Gun. Twitter.com/GundackerSports. And if you're new to the channel, hey, welcome. Thank you for clicking this link. I have been blessed to play fantasy sports and analyze fantasy sports and help other people out as a full-time job for the last maybe half decade already. And I'm just so stoked for NFL to be back. So we got a lot of content coming to this channel, and of course a lot of great premium stuff for those of you guys that want to go above and beyond. Tonight in the premium Discord is the candle burn. You guys that have been around the block for the last couple years, you guys know what the candle burn is. That is where me and the VIP crew at RunDFS.com get together and chop up the slate. It's kind of fun. You're hanging out with the boys with the mics, right? And you just talk some plays, man. You can go game by game if you want. Whatever you guys want, we'll be here. Some weeks will be a little more chaotic than others, right? I think week 1, I have the advantageous approach of being able to really have a stranglehold on every game. We're not dealing with what ifs, with injuries, with a lot of weather. There is some weather, but week 1 more so than most any other week, or really any other. Maybe week 17 gets a little fishy, but week 1 we're able to be prepared, right? We've had pricing for a month. We've pretty much known what we were going to do since the last week of preseason. Now it's just to let the chips fall. But tonight we will be talking about everything week 1 related, DFS wise, man. If you guys want to listen in or grab a mic, join in, man, make some new DFS friends. I invite you guys, come be part of the premium community. $25 week pass. That is less than $5 a day. You're going to get daily coverage for MLB, DFS, and of course weekend coverage for NFL. And then next month, man, NBA is coming, and of course when NBA is here, you guys know the deal. The prices go up just a little bit. It's $100 a month, $30 a week, and I think it's $50 every 2 weeks, something like that. So with that said, there is some nice bulk discount packages that will only be available for today, at least the Super Bowl Sunday special. So if you guys are interested in having some long-term savings, go to RunDFS.com, make yourself an account, and bam, you can click that fat banner at the top, or you can go to VIP passes. What I mean by bulk packages, we have the Super Bowl special. This is the last day that this will be live. $400 will get you locked in until Super Bowl Sunday. That'll be 24/7 Discord access, full spreadsheet access. We have spreadsheets every day for baseball, every week for NFL, and every day for NBA, which is another really, really strong sport for myself. in my community. And then the MVP package, man, if you guys are in it for the haul going into the NBA season, $600 till the end of NBA. That's actually crazy. Think about that. It's mid-June. We're in September. Like I said, next month the month passes are $100 a month, so that could be 8 months right there of $100 a month. That's 800. You're saving almost $300 just by doing that. So plenty of cool packages to test out, and of course, we ball on a budget. That's cool too, man. Week passes. Come be part of our community for a week. I don't expect complete strangers to come shell out long-term stuff. Those of you guys that have been rocking with me, we've been around for years and we're on the up and up. But I certainly encourage you guys to try a week pass and just see if it's for you, man. The community is a lot of fun. Tonight, 7 p.m. is where we're shooting for. It's going to be after baseball lock. I know a lot of people are going to be playing college football today. And there'll probably be some guys sweating college football, maybe talking some college football plays for the later slate or whatever. But nonetheless, we'll be there. We'll be hanging out, having a lot of fun. No matter what site you're playing on this weekend, FanDuel, DraftKings, Yahoo, Fantasy Draft, if you're playing all of them like I am, we'll be thinking outside the box, inside the box, cash games, tournaments, all that good stuff. Whatever you guys have on your mind, picks, plays, stacking types, man. We're going to iron all that out. I'm super stoked for that. In addition to access to the chat, man, if you guys do get a VIP pass, you're going to get access to the my week one spreadsheet. This is a copy. We're going to delete it. I don't want any leaks. But just this is the table of contents for this spreadsheet. So if you guys are curious what kind of content is in it, you get sortable stats and stuff like that for last year, position stats, passers, running, DVOA, all that good stuff. But a lot of it is where I get to kind of shed my ideas, my personal player pool, guys that I'm actually playing, and my favorite GPP group stacks. This one is really, really fun. Just added this week, and we haven't done this in years past. This is inspired by the Millie Maker video yesterday, where I'll be selecting some of my favorite teams and then grouping them together in my favorite tournament builds cores. Game by game notes with some loose written ideas and theories on plays and whatnot. DraftKings tiers chart. I'm going to be talking about tiers in a minute. We have projections in the spreadsheet. And tiers is a DraftKings contest type that I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. So I'm going to hold on to that thought. You'll get recommended lines, schedules and coverage, favorite contests that I'm playing this weekend, all that good stuff, man. This is just dipping your toes in. So come be part of a great DFS community, man. We'd love to have you. 5 pieces of advice that I have for you as we head into week one. Number 5. Speaking of voice chat, be open-minded when discussing plays for the weekend or when you're consuming advice. There has been a plethora of NFL podcasts, YouTube videos, tweets. Many people are going to be on all different sides of the spectrum, all different sides of the dice when it comes to advice. You can be a victim of paralysis by analysis if you allow yourself to. Through it all, you have to think for yourself, and eventually you have to go with your gut, and you are responsible for the plays that you play, right? Years back, there was this one guy that would always hit me with like a 1v1 or a 2v2, or would listen to a video I put up or a podcast I put up, and he would hear me high on this guy, and at the end of a night, let's say, I don't know, Jared Bayless was a tournament winner, and I would see, man, I was on Jared Bayless, but you liked Jose Calderon, or something stupid like that, right? Like, don't allow yourself to blame other people for the success or failure of your lineups. You need to think for yourself. With that said, when you enter discussions, and I think everyone should have a group, a community of DFS players where you're talking plays, iron sharpens iron. I believe in saying stuff out loud and then hearing other people's thoughts, because every day, every week, man, in the VIP voice chat, we're talking plays, and a lot of times somebody will bring up something that I'm missing out on, whether it be a narrative or an injury, an illness, or just a player that slipped through the cracks, pick it up, and maybe at first I would have been low on that play, and then that person sells me on him, or vice versa. Nonetheless, be open-minded about receiving that information, and don't push back too hard when debating plays. And this is something I see a whole lot. So many DFS discussions turn into heated debates real fast. And in DFS, there is a lot of variance, and ultimately, the right answer at the end of the day is not always something that was the mathematical projection at the beginning of the day. For instance, in baseball, man, if somebody tweets at me, "Hey, Gun, Mike Trout," or Jeff Mathis, the catcher from the Rangers, right? A low average hitter, Mike Trout, of course, a perennial MVP candidate. Well, the answer is always Mike Trout. But, hey, man, Mike Trout could go 0 for maybe 2 walks, and Jeff Mathis hits a fluke home run. Well, at the end of the day, the right answer was Jeff Mathis. But, hey, pre-flop, you're always going to go Mike Trout. So don't put yourself in a corner to where you're arguing plays and then you're wearing egg on your face later on because that player caught a fluke touchdown or a fluke home run, something like that. Just be respectful of people's takes, of people's strategies. I have a little fun sometimes. I like to pick on some of my friends, but it's all with love because at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to be responsible for your plays, and your friends need to be responsible for their plays. But don't be super toxic about somebody's thoughts on a play or a handcuff or something like that, to where you're essentially arguing with them and telling them they're wrong, you're right before kickoff, because it could go real bad real fast at the end of the day in a high variance world of daily fantasy sports. We could have a third string running back vulture 2 touchdowns, and your golden goose running back that you've been arguing with all night versus a Chris Carson or something like that ends up losing. So definitely my first piece of advice for the weekend is just be open-minded. Let's move on. Number 4. Let's talk about the Yahoo $1 Million Baller. If you guys happen to catch my contest that I love for week 1 video, I posted it, 2 weeks ago? Basically, I shopped around different sites and found contests with payout structures and rate that I really liked. And no contest in the industry will come close to this contest right here in terms of consumer gratifying. I don't know. It's the literal best contest out there for a DFS consumer this weekend. If you are not familiar with it, Daily Fantasy Sports or Yahoo has a daily fantasy sports platform now, sports.yahoo.com/dailyfantasy. I'm not even going to drop my referral code. I don't even care. They have a rake-free $1 million prize pool, 40,000 entry, $25 entry fee, and get this, 10 entry max. That means no player can have more than 10 lineups into this thing. You're not going to find a payout structure, a prize pool, or lack of rake like this anywhere else, and you may not get this opportunity many more times. Now, credit to Yahoo. They have done stuff like this over the course of last year. They're really trying to establish their brand and get players over there. There have been some states that have been excluded. Florida was a big state that was not in the Yahoo market. That's beyond my pay grade. I know there's rules and regulations and licenses and whatnot, but guess what, Florida? They're in Florida now. They tweeted out the other day, so if you're in Florida and you've just been, I can't play Yahoo, I'm in Florida, you can play now. And I highly, highly recommend prioritizing this game as a contest that you enter. Like I said, 10 entry max. I will personally make it a priority to max enter it. There are some handicaps from this contest that you don't see anywhere else such as the inability to upload CSVs. So you're going to have to hand build your lineups here. This is one of the reasons why I wasn't playing a lot of NBA on Yahoo last year. But it's fine. You can hand build your lineups in NFL, no problem. You could be done the night before. I'll probably be done the night before. Another thing to note about this contest is that there's probably a strong chance of overlay. So a 0% rake contest already that might overlay 10,000 spots. Hopefully, hopefully less, so they can keep feeding us some good contests. And that'll make the payout even better. I think right now it pays out like 25%. It could pay out close to 30%, and then you got triple up odds. So with that said, second piece of advice: if you're playing this contest, be advised that this slate includes the Sunday night football game between Pittsburgh and New England. A lot of people have exhausted their research from the noon games to the 4:25 games. This does include that. New England has a super, super high total. It is the banner raising night Super Bowl champs there. They're 5.5-point favorites. And, it could make some of their players a little bit more contrarian or a little less owned because a lot of people are super excited to play games or players from games elsewhere. This was a spin that I was kind of thinking about writing up earlier in the week. And then as I started digging into it, you really don't get a big value, a bargain for these Steelers players. Obviously, the first two players that come to mind, Juju Smith and James Conner. James Conner is the 5th highest price active running back when you take out Melvin Gordon. And then wide receiver Juju Smith is the 5th highest price wide receiver. He might get some Stephon Gilmore treatment now that Antonio Brown's out. So, maybe I heed with caution there. But on the flip side, Julian Edelman, $19 without Rob Gronkowski. The way the Steelers play defense and blitz a lot, you can see a lot of love for Edelman as a guy who gets 10-plus targets. So, maybe seek a late-night hammer from this game. I definitely think Julian Edelman kind of fits that mold. I don't want to get into breaking down this game, but I certainly wanted to add this to my pieces of advice. Is don't forget that this game is on there if you're playing Yahoo. It's not going to pay out right after the Bucks and Niners game. Third piece, shop the lobbies, man. Shop them hard. You're not going to get a sport that is more casual or has a higher casual percentage of players than Week 1 NFL. It's just not. These lobbies have been up for a month. The commercials are out there. There's a lot of promotional Facebook advertising, Twitter advertising, YouTube. Guys like me spitting out videos all the time to show up in people's recommended videos to watch. This is the week where all the fish are swimming toward us. So if not that I'm a shark, not that you're a shark, but if you play basketball, you understand how much the edge has been sanded down over the last 2 seasons because of so many advice services like mine, like Osmo, like Rotogrind. There's so many great ones out there. NFL, it's all we got, man. This is all we got in terms of picking on some casual players. So not only enjoy that, open up that wallet, play some money, but shop around, man. Don't just attack the Millie Maker and hope you become a millionaire. Look at these lobbies. We talked about this contest here on Yahoo. FantasyDraft.com has an amazing lobby this week. I know their service is a little bit wonkier. They have a subscription-based service, which is a great alternative to paying rake. You guys maybe don't feel it when you play DraftKings and FanDuel. You're paying usually 15 to 20% rake on these big banner contests. The Fantasy Draft has an excellent system to where you're not paying rake on the contest, but you are paying a subscription, and it's a really, really well-priced subscription. But so many sites have great lobbies out there. For instance, on DraftKings, there is a early only slate, right? We've been really diving in to play the full main slate. hey, these sites chop up these slates. There's an early only, an afternoon. I think there's a showdown slate for the Panthers game. I think I could be wrong on that. Get creative, get different. Go where the Sharks aren't. Give yourself the biggest exposure to the casual player base, and I think contests like this are a great way. And then the play action on the early slate anyway is a contest I like just based on its payout structure. 5,000 to first on an 80,000 prize pool. It's a super flat payout, and it's a 20 entry max. So if you guys are balling on a budget, trying to stretch your money to maximize your percentage of the contest field to where you can match anyone else who has the 2020 lineups. This is a great opportunity here. It's a $3 entry. There's a $4 entry as well. There's a $1 entry. There are some mini maxes in the DraftKings lobby, 50-cent mini maxes. You guys can max a slate. Let's do some math here. 0.5 times 150. If you ever just wanted to try it, $75, you can run 150 lineups. A lot of people look at these Sharks and like, man, if I could run 150 lineups, I'd win every tournament too. Try it in the 50 cent. Try it in a quarter arcade if you have an opportunity. It's not as easy as you think to manage that many lineups. Another thing, it's like tiers. Shop around these lobbies. Tiers. I don't even think I've seen a video all week discussing tiers. I've seen video after video talking about all the showdowns, the greatest thing. There's so much of an edge in showdown. You got to play it. I've not seen one video talking about tiers. If you guys haven't seen these tiers contests in a lobby, here's an example. There's a $4 250K front four. That's a $250,000 prize pool. First place pays $50,000. Yeah, that's a little top heavy, sure. But hey, all the big ones you're playing are top heavy, and this is one that you're likely going to have less exposure to Sharks. Sharks aren't focused on this. They're focused on a Millie Maker. They're focused on breaking down games. They're focused on lineup correlation. Get a little different, man. Swim out into the deep end of the pool and get out of your comfort zone here. I have personally taken tiers and decided to support it in my spreadsheet that we talked about at the top of this podcast. I talked about the top of this video. I have a tier sheet where I've taken every player in all 8 tiers listed and put them next to my projections. And yeah, obviously you don't want to go solely based on projections, but it's a great starting point. And you can come up with your own kind of strategy to attack these contests. You can look for correlations, maybe find a pass catcher and his quarterback, or a running back and his, I don't know, a tight end. Or you just find some correlation of guys on the same team so you can throw that blanket over a high-scoring team. Check out tiers if you haven't checked it out. It is like I said, it is something that I'm not seeing anyone talk about, any of the towel shows, any videos talk about, and it could have the greatest edge. There is no salary here. You're basically getting a pool of players to choose from. You choose who you think's the highest scorer in that pool, and you move on. And you could play with different combinations. For instance, this one's a 20 entry max. We would say $4, $80 will get you 20 shots at $50K, where you're not competing with as many Sharks as the public lobby or the main slate lobby, and you can have a little bit more fun with a lot less stress worrying about salary and full correlations and stuff like that. You're just really putting X amount of players on the table, analyzing them and saying, bam, I want this guy, I want this guy. Usually what I do is I find 2 or 3 guys from each tier that I want exposure to, and then boom, I make lineups and I move forward, right? So that's tip number 3, right? Make sure you're shopping around these lobbies, and I don't want to just stop on these contests. I'm sure FanDuel has some good stuff. I've talked about the FanDuel leagues. If you guys haven't seen the leagues, they have $12, $10, $20 leagues, $5 leagues. Those are great bankroll boosters where you're only facing 100 people. I think they have 200-man leagues as well, instead of facing 200,000 lineups. If you guys are looking to stretch your money, boost your bankroll, and be more profit-minded than entertainment-minded, contests like that, smaller contests, single entry, stuff like that, is stuff you can shop for too. And hey, 3 entry maxes on DraftKings or on FanDuel or another alternative here. I know I harp on the middle to deep field tournaments pretty much this week, but there's something for everyone and every bankroll out there with big prizes, little prizes, medium prizes. It is really the best week in lobby of the year to be a DFS player. Number 4 or 2, be smart, make smart plays, play the plays percentages, not whack job what ifs. What does that even mean, Gun? Let me repeat that. When you're making your lineups for your tournaments this week, be smart, make smart plays, play smart percentages, not whack job what ifs. We're about to be DFS church. Turn to your neighbor and say, "Don't play whack job." No, okay. Yeah, man, we're making. Last night I streamed on Twitch for a little bit, played some Fortnite, and people were jumping in my chat talking about NFL Week 1, and I was like, "Hey, man, okay, what are your guys' lineups looking like?" And one of my buddies told me about a lineup where his quarterback was Joe Flacco. His quarterback was Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco. And of course, I'm laughing at it now, watching him be the nuts, man. But he was playing, I guess, the 2-day slate. And yeah, he was playing tournaments with Flacco. And he had some other just like really, really volatile, low floor, middling ceiling guys. And that's what I can't stress enough. I would encourage you guys to focus on is the percentage of times when you run a slate 100 times. You simulate this slate this weekend 100 times. How many times is Joe Flacco the best quarterback? You run every game on Madden 100 times, right? How many times is Joe Flacco the guy you need to win 20 grand, 50 grand, $1 million? Probably not often, right? We're seeing a lot of tight ends like that too that people are throwing at me. Just plays in general. Play plays that give you a solid ceiling to give if you're playing. And this is if you're playing tournaments. Give you a solid ceiling with a decent range of outcomes that they're going to be a contributing factor to your lineup. Who are some middling? All right, let's pull up stat muse. I kind of give you an idea. Think about some chalky players people have been throwing at me. So Delaney Walker. I just looked this one up. The thought of Delaney Walker being a play this week was actually intriguing to me, right? And I was sitting here thinking about my personal tight end player pool, which right now consists of Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Evan Ingram, and Hunter Henry. Just 4. I don't have any other tight ends. I don't even have Zach Ertz. I just have those 4. And then I was talking to somebody about the Browns defense. Last year, the Browns had what they called, a halo defense, where they basically funneled usage and passes to opposing tight ends, and opposing tight ends did great. Kind of like the Colts, where if you were a tight end against the Cleveland Browns, you were likely in a player pool for me that week. So I started thinking about this week. Hey, Delaney Walker is back, and no one's talking about him. No one's playing him. He's playing the Browns. That was a top 4 matchup in football last year for tight ends. Before he left, he was a safety blanket for Marcus Mariota. And by left, I mean he played, 1 game last year? So I was like, am I sleeping on Delaney Walker? He's pretty doggone cheap here. And then I went to StatMuse, and I put Delaney Walker DKP by game log last 10 games with Marcus Mariota. I searched it. And this is what it came back point-wise. His peak DraftKings points was 17.3, and his lowest was 4.9. There's a 6.3. So, floor ceiling, 5 fantasy points as a floor, a ceiling of 17. I do like this price in terms of DraftKings. I think it was in the 3Ks, right? And I do like that no one's talking about him. I do like that the matchup's right. But if I add him to my tight end player pool right now, Travis Kelce, Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram, and George Kittle, then I would have 5 tight ends to kind of deal with. And looking at this floor and this ceiling, what is the range of outcomes, percentage-wise, that Delanie Walker is going to outscore any of those 4, or all of those 4, really, that I'm missing out on? So just like teams in preseason week 4, you got to make cuts. You can think about guys being contrarian or guys being sleepers, but if you try to play them all, you're going to make a bunch of lineups that have no stands, and eventually when your pool gets too diluted and too many players, your lineups are playing against your lineups, and you don't really have a vested interest to really have a strong ROI day. Delanie Walker, if you got your 17 fantasy points at 3K or whatever, I think that would be fine. But if we were talking about winning a tournament in GPPs, is Delanie Walker a better ceiling play than Travis Kelce? Heck no. We know Kelce can drop 30 fantasy points. George Kittle, we've seen him do it. Evan Ingram is going to likely lead the Giants in targets against a Cowboys defense that did surrender funnel usage to opposing tight ends last year, and Eli Manning obviously leans on his tight ends. And then Hunter Henry is kind of in the same price area as Delanie Walker, and we know the Colts were the worst. The Colts allowed the most tight end catches last year, right? So I don't think I mathematically, logistically make a spot for Delanie Walker over those 4. So it still allows me to think outside the box, stay sharp, and talk and process a play. And maybe Delanie Walker's a fun half slate play, early only or afternoon. They're on the early only, and that's fun too, because I think the afternoon does have Evan Ingram and Hunter Henry, right? So this is one of those plays that might help me out on the early, but in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't make the cut. So when you're making your player pool, make smart plays, make smart decisions, make numbers-based decisions. Now, is there an alternate universe where Delanie Walker puts up 20 and Kelce drops 15, hurt his ankle, or the Jaguars found a way to shut him down, and the Giants don't even score, right? That's a realistic outcome tonight. And there is an outcome where Walker's the best tight end today, fantasy-wise. But if you had to put a percentage on it, I would say it's a 5% or less chance that he's the highest of the 4. So he probably doesn't make my player pool. And I do think that's a volatile example here. I think another example is a guy like Tyler Lockett. I've been seeing that name everywhere. Tyler Boyd, I've been seeing that name everywhere. Boyd makes a little bit more sense to me than Lockett. Lockett's on a team that led the National Football League in run percentage last year, on a team that's a massive home favorite. I just don't know if there's enough juice for Lockett to be an excellent tournament play. So I'm probably going to maybe cut him versus the field. But make smart plays, make smart decisions, play the percentages. And what I mean by percentages is ask yourself your own range of outcomes. Your range of outcome doesn't have to agree with me, but it needs to be part of the tip of your pen, right? If you think Delanie Walker could be the best tight end today, then you play him. But for me, my range of outcomes and the way I see stuff playing out, I'm probably not going to throw him in my 4. And then not whack job what ifs, right? I think that your lineup, if you've been watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, you've been doing your own research, I think your lineup is not created equal to a couple drunk guys at the bar at Hooters trying to make a buck, trying to enjoy some games, right? They're just playing their favorite players or whatnot. Get rid of the whack job theories, man. Joe Flacco, you know what I'm saying? Don't play backup quarterbacks, and don't play, maybe four string receivers, man. Give yourself a little bit of a floor, so that if you don't finish first, the fall from grace isn't as far. And that's part of just making smart decisions, man. There's plays that make sense, and then there's plays that are just miracle dart throws. And yes, miracle dart throws do happen seemingly on a weekly basis, but after the fact, it's hard to reverse engineer many, if not all of them, and be like, okay, that made sense. Usually you need something to go right, an injury, or incredible game script that just happened to go awry. But anyway, I've harped enough on that. Last piece of advice I want to give you, as I remind you, tonight will be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, voice chat, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Don't procrastinate, man. This is week 1 of all weeks. There's going to be weeks in the future where we're watching injuries, we're watching weather, wind for kickers and deep ball passers. This week, pencils should be down pretty quickly, man. Be prepared, stay prepared, and don't roster bait, man. Don't change your lineups after you spent all week, all night, deciding your plays, deciding your strategy, your stacks, your handcuffs, your groups. If you make your lineups tonight, man, and I intend to finish all of my lineups before my head hits the pillow, when I wake up, there should be no reason for me to change anything, but I also should not be racing the clock to get all my lineups done. So don't wait, man. Get it done tonight. Make yourself responsible, and don't go to bed tonight without having everything you've entered with a lineup. And then I'll say one last thing. If you guys have been playing the last couple months, you really maybe kind of got complacent on the thought of late swap. DraftKings has late swap. There are right ways and wrong ways to use late swap, and I maybe in the future a video on me talking about late swap and how you can use it to your advantage on DraftKings is certainly a video we can talk about. I think Yahoo has late swap as well. You guys got that flex position. If you're going to flex, if you can help it, like if you're gonna flex 3 running backs and one of those running backs is in the 4:25 p.m. game, make sure that running back is in your flex spot. Same with a receiver. If you're gonna run 4 receivers, have whatever receiver that is in the last game in the flex spot. Reason being, you never know if a guy gets scratched, a guy gets sick, he gets injured, he doesn't play, or if you just need to panic switch something. You want that position to be able to be open, right? Sometimes you're not going to be able to play the 3rd or 4th string running back once the guy you played gets scratched or the salary doesn't match up, and that flex spot will allow you to swap in an option of 3 positions: tight end, wide receiver, and running back. So kind of a bonus tip there, man. I'm super excited for week 1 of NFL. I hope you've enjoyed the content this week on this channel. We're going to have a whole lot more vids coming next week. I intend to maybe do a week 1 process review on Monday, kind of share who I ended up on, my tiers, my groups, and how I did in my tournaments, my games. And then we'll have, of course, our week 2 picks at each position. And then kind of like we did this past week with some of the bonus videos and freestyle some thoughts and ideas. If you guys got specific video ideas that you think you'd like to hear my spin on, please let me know in the comments below, man. Really trying to stir this channel back up. It's been since NBA season where we put up regular content. So YouTube does kind of put inactive channels on the back burner, and you see we've only had a couple hundred views on these videos, whereas in NBA season we're probably getting 1,000 views per video. So we do have to grind it back up. If you guys want to help me out with that, share these videos, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you are subscribed, I don't mind if you unsubscribe and then resubscribe just to kind of refresh the YouTube algorithm. If you've got anything else for me, twitter.com/GundackerSports. You don't have to be a premium subscriber to ask me questions or to talk to me. My DMs are open to everybody. And then, of course, if you tweet at me, it's probably a quicker way to get me to reply, man. If you guys got any simple questions, hey, who would you go with here? Who would you go with here? I'd be glad to share my take on it. But yeah, man, I'm super stoked for tonight. We're going to be chopping it up. I'm going to be making all of my lineups. Reminder, man, I want you guys to be part of a community. If it's not mine, cool. But I certainly encourage you guys to dip your feet in, plant yourselves in a DFS community of people that are thinking alike, have the same goals, and just are sharp, smart guys watching news, guys that are experienced in playing contests, and maybe could sharpen you up if you can sharpen them up, and vice versa. But if you guys want to join mine, I'd love to have you. It's $25. Try it out for a week right now. $40 for 2 weeks, $70 for the month. And then, of course, today, the last day to get the Super Bowl special. And I certainly think the MVP package has more value now than it will in a week, in a week after, in a week after. So I've had a blast putting up some content today. I'm super stoked for NFL Week 1. I love you guys, and I will see you Monday. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.